Hello again, and welcome back. I hope back, but if this is your first time, then welcome to flyingcloudzen.org's YouTube channel. This is just a series of talks, reflections, blatherings from me on mindfulness practice, awareness practice, living a spiritual life, oftentimes through a Zen lens or a Buddhist model. For awakening is what I'm most familiar with, but all are welcome. It all ends up being human stuff, right? So what I want to talk a little bit about today is seeds and perfumes. I may actually fashion these remarks into a little bit of a longer, more formal sort of talk, because seeds and perfumes would make a good title, I think, for a talk. Talk should have kind of a fun title to get people's interest. Seeds and perfumes, what we're actually talking about is karma, that is to say, maybe I shouldn't talk about it that way, but for now, I'll just say karma, talking about the past and why we spend so much time talking about the past. So that's the reason I'm actually offering these reflections today is what I notice this in myself, and I notice this in the people that I practice with. I certainly notice this in people that I work with one-to-one, in my capacity as a Zen teacher, but also in my role as a spiritual director. The people who see me for spiritual director, we all seem to have resistance to looking at the past. We all seem to have kind of just an inherent, habitual, I'd rather not talk about that old stuff too much. Some stories, of course, we love to tell and retell, but I'm talking about the rougher stuff, and I'm trusting you know exactly what I mean when I say that. I notice this resistance in all of us. Again, I have it myself. I notice it especially in Zen settings, or in settings where people come to the practice with an idea that, again, is extremely common, that in Zen, or Buddhism in general, I guess, but Zen in particular, present moment, be in the now. Be in the now, be here now, baby, right? Yes, that is true. That is true. Present moment awareness is incredibly important and highly prized in Buddhism and in Zen. Yes, meditation is about coming back to the present moment, being deeply present to the experience of the now. Yes, of course. So if you have that idea in your head, you are not wrong, you are not crazy, and I am not here to contradict that. What I am here to remind you of is the present contains the past. Whoops. So what we see, and again, I know this very well from years of personal experience, is when I heard my teachers say, come back to the present moment, what I heard, because I had translated it in my head into something that was more palatable to me, was don't think about the past. Don't feel your connection to the past. Don't go down that road. When you find yourself thinking about the past or feeling the past, cut it off and come back to the immediate experience of body and breath right now. Do you kind of feel it? I got about half of it, didn't I? I got about half of it. But I was using the teaching, come back to the present, as a defense. I was using it as an escape. I was using it as a barrier. I don't want to feel that old stuff. And so I use my meditation practice as literally a barrier, right? A defense, a wall. Nope, don't have to go there, because Zen's all about present moment awareness. Yeah, Zen is all about present moment awareness, but what's built into Zen from the very, very beginning is the present is all there is. There isn't a thing called not the present. There's just the present, and it fully and already includes all of it. So your karma, all that stuff that happened back then, I think I used this hand is past. All that stuff that you imagine is gone isn't gone. It's happening now. It's in you. This is it. It's now. Right? So the admonition, live in the present, is of course correct. It's also the only possible thing. So Good luck not living in the present. You kind of have to. This is where your life is. But it fully includes the past. So what I didn't understand was when I remember last week's conversation with my parent or something. We had dinner last week and we had that conversation that didn't go well. We ended up arguing about finances or some such thing. I'm making this up as I go. We had that terrible conversation last week that ended in that fight. And the thought of that comes up during meditation. Yeah, of course I can make the decision to. I'm not here to do that. I'm focusing on. I'm exercising the muscle of focus and concentration. And so I'm going to let that thought go and I'm going to come back to my body and breath. Yeah, that's cool. That's good practice. That does actually strengthen the muscle of focus, 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 calm, center, focus, boom. Right? My mind is getting better at going where I want it to go, staying where I need it to be there, and being there as long as I ask it to be. Focus. That's a very good muscle to exercise. But present moment awareness doesn't mean I don't get to include, God, I keep thinking about that. Right? I've been sitting zazen now for like only about 15 minutes. And I've thought about last week's fight about 5 or 6 different times now. Zazen includes my thinking about last week's fight. My meditation right now includes, my present moment includes my thinking about last week. Why do I keep thinking about last week? It wasn't just a gossamer fill in the space, airy thought with nothing tied to it. This one keeps coming back and back. I keep circling back to it. So now I'm going to start to notice it. I'll include it in my noticing. I'm not going to cut it off each time. Oh, I noticed that when it comes back around again, there's a feeling. There's the gravity. It's tied to something, isn't it? Because when I think about last week's fight, I feel sad and I feel angry and I feel scared and I feel confused now that I think about it and kind of embarrassed, maybe even ashamed. Holy cow. I got about half a dozen afflictive emotions tied to my narrative about last week. The present moment includes the past. Those emotions, I'm feeling them now. I'm feeling them in my body right now in reaction to the memory. Just thinking about how that ended, the way we left things, some of the things that we said. So, what am I saying with this whole thing? I'm saying my present moment experience contains suffering. Basic Buddhism, dukkha. Dukkha, suffering, resistance, struggle, constriction is happening right now in response to my memory of last week's fight. Wow. So, right now, in this very room, in the middle of my meditation, in the middle of the present moment, suffering has shown itself. And as a Buddhist practitioner, what is my response to suffering? My response to suffering is lean toward it, get closer to it, pick it up and hold it. Be curious about it, accept it, investigate it, get to know it. Otherwise, it's never going to heal. Otherwise, I will never heal. I will literally not be whole if I continue to refuse to go down the road of investigating karma. That's what we would call this in Buddhist practice, probably. Bringing karma into view, the investigation of karma. What this actually is I'm noticing how my lens of perception got formed. These are the things I'm quick to see. These are the things I'm slow to see. This is sort of the prescription that I got, the prescription glasses that I am wearing in this life that are unique to me. I come by the prescription honestly. It was formed by my culture, by my skin color, by my gender, by the family, the religion, the schools, the neighbors, all the experiences that I have form my lens, the lens through which I view the world. This is my karma, cause and effect. Cause and effect. If you meet somebody who is terrified of snakes, there is a reason. They didn't just make it up. There's a reason. So to investigate, oh, I wonder why you're scared of that. What does that go back to? There's a reason. That's being curious. That's investigation of karma. It's just being curious. Oh, how did that pattern get created? You have a pattern of immediately avoiding anything that even looks like a snake. Well, there's a reason. I wonder why. I can see there's suffering there for you. So let's get closer to it. Let's hold your fear and go, oh God, I can feel that with you. Fear. Yes, I know that feeling so well. You're very, very scared. Yeah, I understand that. I know that feeling. I can sit in that with you. That's fine. Fear is okay. I get it. What do you think that's about? Oh, now I'm curious. What's the storyline? There's a storyline, there's a narrative, there's a belief system, there's a history. In other words, karma is included in the fear. The fear is here because of everything that created it, that is continuing to create it. Your fear is happening now. You're not remembering being scared. You're actually scared right now. Sure, it's tied to the past. You feel it in your body now. So bringing karma into view is consciously becoming aware of how our perceptions are formed. It's incredibly important in spiritual practice, in meditative practice, Buddhist practice, if you prefer, especially at some point, right? At the beginning, focus on the breath, focus on the body, just come back. That's really, really good teaching. Incredibly important teaching, solid teaching, useful teaching, and very stage appropriate, right? When we're new. But when we're a little more sophisticated, when we've been doing this a little longer, choosing to pull karma into view is incredibly important because it's literally the lens through which we are seeing the world. And if we don't recognize the lens through which we are seeing the world, then we're not seeing that we don't see clearly. If I don't see my prejudice, then I don't recognize that my prejudice is the lens through which I view the world. I think it's real and it isn't, right? So I'll switch gears. Seeds and perfumes. Perfumes and seeds, the cool name for the talk, right? It's a cool name. Those are the metaphors that traditional Buddhism used to describe the patterning that I am talking about. They used flowers. Isn't that nice? Gee, he was so good at picking out metaphors that people liked. The teaching was, very loosely, somebody hands you a flower and you hold it and you appreciate it. Oh, it's so beautiful. And then you pass it on. Some of the scent, some of the perfume from that flower stays with you. It stays in your nose because you smelled it, and it stays a little bit on your hands because you held it. Oh, isn't that nice? The Buddha taught that each moment has a smell, a perfume, a scent. It has an essence. There's something happening in this moment that is unique to this moment. Oh, this feels this way. And the way that I am feeling now is going to influence how I experience the following moment. It'll just influence it, right? It's kind of like if you get bad news and you've had a bad day already, versus if you get bad news and you've had a really good day, you're going to perceive the bad news a little differently because you've got a different scent on your hands, so to speak, right? So here's what we're talking about. And the reason that the Buddha used this metaphor is each perfume, each moment's essence, the emotional residue of this moment will affect how I perceive and experience the next moment. And so it is, in fact, a perfume from the last, but it's also a seed for the next. So if I'm experiencing right now, whatever it is I'm experiencing, let's say I've got some contentment and I have some fear. Let's say I notice both those. I have a little bit of contentment, but I also notice a little anxiety, a little trepidation. I got a little fear going on, but I'm also mostly okay. Then what I can trust is that the seeds from both my contentment and my anxiety were planted moments ago, maybe a long time ago, but I'm experiencing that now. And that now that I'm aware, oh, I'm experiencing a little bit of fear, but I'm also kind of mostly okay, that's going to influence how I experience the next moment. There's the seed. The seed for the next moment becomes the flower that leaves the perfume on the following, becomes the following, becomes the following. You get it. It's a simple metaphor, and it's an infinite progression. Every single moment is a seed for the next, but it's also the perfume of the last, right? I'll say that again. Every moment is a seed for the next, and the perfume from the last. Ah, so we're always being influenced by what already happened, and we are always influencing what happens next. Oh, that's cool. This metaphor and this idea of seeds and perfumes was chosen by the Buddha to help us understand karma, because the way he taught and the way Buddhist understanding views karma is it's simple: cause and effect. This influences this. That's all. The reason this is because that was cause and effect. It's very scientific, actually. He taught karma in this way as a reaction to, a response to, some would say a correction. I'm not going down that road, but he taught it this way, certainly as a reaction to the prevalent idea in that culture at that time, 500 BC in northern India, that karma is reward and punishment, and that it's meted out by the universe or by the divine to reward the good and to punish the guilty. If I was good in a past life, I'm going to have a really good life this time around. If I'm really good this time around, things will be even better next time around. If I steal from the church collection plate, something bad's going to happen to me. Reward, punishment, reward, punishment, reward, punishment. And so people are forever trying to figure out, oh, if something's good going on right now in my life, what am I being rewarded for so that I can do that again? Oh, and if something bad's happening to me right now, then, oh my God, what am I being punished for so that I can avoid doing that again? Kind of makes sense. The reason it kind of makes sense is that simple cause and effect has its own built-in reward and punishment system, right? Whether we believe in a deity meting it out or not, it's sort of like if I think a lot of really angry things, I tend to feel a lot of anger. I therefore tend to say and do things that express that anger. Therefore, people tend to treat me with anger or aversion. They don't want to hang out with me, or they're angry back, because that's what anger does to people. So my karma for all of that anger is more anger. Is that punishment? I don't prefer to see it that way. That's not the way the Buddha taught it. But I also kind of get that it can feel that way. Right? So love begets love, violence begets violence. I get it. Cause and effect. Cause and effect. So in this practice, in this practice of meditation, in this practice of self-awareness, in this practice of mindfulness, getting to know, hey, how's it going on? How is it today? How is it in this human heart, in this human body, in this human life? This thing we call mindfulness practice, meditation practice, sit down and check in. What I'm aware of is in every given moment that I check in and go, hey, how's it going? I'm experiencing the present moment, but I'm also experiencing all of the perfumes and seeds. And so when my thoughts keep circling back to last week's conflict, and I keep experiencing the anxiety and the confusion and the regret and the anger and the shame, I have in that moment of recognition an incredibly important possibility. I have an opportunity. It's why we meditate, because I know this moment is also seed. It will continue forward. And so if I choose to hold, to be present to lean toward, to be in relationship with, oh, my sadness, my anxiety, my confusion, my anger, shame, whatever that is. Oh, I see you. Oh, right. I get it. You're here. You aren't last week. You're here. That is not only present moment awareness, but now that I'm aware of what's happening, I can choose to meet it with what it needs: compassion for the suffering that's there. Oh, I'll sit with you. I'm so sorry that you're that scared. You're that confused. You're that angry. You're that ashamed. I get it. I'll be with you. Right. And I can also do the crucial work, the karmic changing work of understanding how those afflictive states come into being and doing the adjustment that's necessary to make sure that the conditions for those inside this very human heart change. If every time that person says that thing, I feel ashamed and therefore I act from that shame, the awareness of that dynamic gives me the opportunity to change it. I get to make a decision based on this new clarity that I have. We call that wisdom in Buddhism. Oh, I see it. I just see one more layer. I get a little bit more of what's going on right here. Oh, I get it. Click. I can make an adjustment. Wisdom. That's just my wisdom. I see it. Go, oh, I'm continuing to do this thing that hurts people. Hurts myself, hurts others. Oh, don't need to do that anymore. Click. I've made a change because I've been aware. And I don't have awareness unless I'm with it, unless I choose to include it. Perfumes and seeds. The past. It's always ripening now in Zen. We always say the entirety of history is ripening right now. All of the seeds and all of the perfumes are showing up right now, which means our potential to enact compassionate and wise change is literally infinite. It's not bound by time because it's happening now, all of it. Therefore, to include our ideas, our history, our belief systems, our past pain into the moment, to actually relate to those things with the compassion and wisdom we all have. Oh my goodness. Of course, all of a sudden, the entire landscape of meditation changes radically. If I start welcoming those things and saying, nope, you're a busy mind, I'm not interested. Nope, you're a feeling, I'm not interested in having that. There are times when I feel like that's actually helpful. There are times when I think we have to be that focused. There are times when I think creating conditions of safety for ourselves usurps any other need. There are times when I think that's really valuable. But most of the time, if we're honest, we're not that afflicted. We're not so hard up that we need to escape. We can actually do the opposite. We can actually stop and turn toward and go, what have I been running from all day? What have I been running from for the past 6 months? What have I been running from for the past 50 years? Come on. That's what Buddha does. I mean, you understand that, right? Buddha isn't like, I've successfully become completely insulated from anything that hurts. My God, no, that's not Buddha. If it was, it would be a really small, sort of sad, fragile Buddha, right? Buddha is, no, I can see all of it, hold all of it, feel all of it, feel all of it. Right? This practice of meditation, Buddhist or not, should be making us more human all of the time, right? Not less, more available to the entire pantheon of human emotions, more able to see, feel, hold. That's what it's about. This whole thing is supposed to be increasing our capacity to be with suffering, to hold it with care. Not, I got so good at ignoring it, I didn't feel anything anymore. What is that? That's not spiritual practice. That's foolishness. That's complete foolishness. That's just avoidance and spiritual bypass. Recognition of karma, choosing to pull the past into the present when it shows up the way that I'm using my example of today, is a sign of maturing practice. It is an ability that you have. And it is where the rubber meets the road. This is what actually begins to transform our experience. Deeply transform. And it's relational, and it's relational, and it's relational, and it's dynamic, and it doesn't stop. It just keeps going. Because human life is infinite. We have infinite layers, infinite memories, infinite karma, infinite everything. And so we just increase our capacity and increase our capacity and increase our capacity. And we relate to more and more and more until all of a sudden the bodhisattva vows start making sense. Beings are numberless. I vow to free them. I get it. I get it. The work is infinite and it's all happening now. Isn't that beautiful? Wow. So bring karma into view. That's my admonition, right? Get to know the autopilot. Get to know how you repeatedly, instinctually, unconsciously defend, avoid, ignore, or attack these parts of yourself. We all do. Know you're in good company. You're not unique. Everybody does it. Everybody does it, right? Get to know how you instinctually do that. And then you'll get to know the karma underneath it, the very real pain that gives rise to those behaviors. We all do something for a reason. There's a reason. And there's suffering there that we get to bring back into the folds. The folds. the folds. Compassion, wisdom, love. That's what we're here to do. Wow. Bringing karma into view. Okay. I hope that made sense. With each of these talks, I always intend to talk about 5 minutes. I end up talking for 20. So much for the quiet Zen master thing. Thank God. Thank God I'm not one of those. I hope this is helpful. Please offer whatever you would like in comments or drop me a line at flyingcloudzen.org. It would be lovely to hear back from all of you. Hope these have helped you. Blessings to you. And we'll see you next time. Okay, thanks. Bye-bye.